Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lock On Podcast, episode, I want to say 10. I think it's 10 or 11. Either way, welcome.
We're working on it.
Yeah,
every episode.
Yeah, we're back. Had a little bit of an extended holiday break. Lots has happened, lots to talk about. We're going to hopefully dive into a few announcements that just happened recently. And then we're going to also talk about some of the games coming in 2021 or what we think might be coming in 2021. My name is Kyle Hooper. I'm your host. We got the panel back again. Avery, Sean, Tim. Kick off with Avery over here. Avery, how was your holidays? How you doing?
Doing good, Kyle. Doing good. Holidays were nice. Played a few games. I think over the holidays I played through Immortals, Phoenix Rising, and then now I'm playing Final Fantasy 15 as a filler before the games I want to see come out in 2021 release.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of doing that. The December, January, February lull is real right now, and a lot of people are kind of finding those games that you might didn't play throughout the year, or you're replaying some games that you really enjoyed. I'm definitely on board with that. Sean, how you doing?
I'm good. I too played through Immortals. Really enjoyed that. And I finished Assassin's Creed Odyssey, didn't like it. Not Odyssey, Valhalla. Came away not liking it, went on too long, anticlimactic, didn't like the story structure or the story. So I was really disappointed with that. And now I am going for the platinum on Demon Souls.
Platinuming, yes, that always takes up a lot of time. What is there a tricky trophy that seems to be bugging you?
Not yet. There's a trophy for getting all the rings in the game, and they added some rings, and one of them requires an item that's a very rare drop. So, and I've been looking up, watching like comments and like on forums and stuff, and people are like, "I've done this 100 times and I still haven't gotten this fucking."
Oh, those buggy trophies!
Like,
we've all been through that. An achievement or trophy won't pop, or you do everything.
It's not
right.
that it won't drop. It's just that it's like an extremely rare item. And the thing is, I put in the Demon Souls games, there's a luck stat which increases your discovery. But I have sunk 0 points into that because I didn't know until I just started this dumb, and the thing is, it's not like I can start a new character and get that one item. I would have to get all the rings on a new character. It has to be all one character.
Well, hopefully,
so it's just like I'm not looking forward to that.
Hopefully, on the next episode, you update us, and hopefully, it's worked out for you. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
Thank you.
I'm doing great. Yeah, Hitman comes out on next Wednesday.
I knew we were going to hear a little bit of Hitman. We'll talk a little bit of Hitman in the 2021 games.
So I've been, I finished my review for Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered.
Very nice. Game's
great as ever. The music still is a pretty bad choice. I don't like the music for that at all. They chose like this to go with like atmospheric rock, like mid-tempo. I don't know.
Not very Need for Speed.
Well, it's like so that was the game Criterion made after they made Burnout Paradise.
And Burnout Paradise had great music.
Exactly. It had a fantastic soundtrack. Fun, punk rock, boppy, fast stuff. And then the next one is like, atmospheric, like Warner, One Tree Hill rock.
Yeah.
And it's just such that's weird. But the game still plays great. The graphics are gorgeous. It is funny that when that game came out, all the cars were new, but now they're 10 years old. Oh, you're driving around in a bunch of 2010s vehicles and 2011s and concept cars that have since come out and been out for 5 years. So that's kind of fun. It's a little bit of a time machine in that way.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Sounds good. Hopefully we'll get to read the review. It sounds interesting for sure. But let's hop.
It should be posted any day now. I did
quick question though, like on this topic. Have you guys ever discovered a band on a game soundtrack that you actually wound up becoming a big fan of?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No.
I actually, so I'm not I'm very much against a lot of the sports games. I was into them, your 2008 NHL, 2009 Madden I was into, and then I haven't really been into them as of late. But I actually, that's still the thing that I feel like Madden and the FIFA and NHL games do really well is they find a lot of unknown artists or smaller artists, and they do a really good job propping them up within the games.
Like what is an artist that you wound up? I mean, not just a fan of that song. Like wound up becoming a fan of their catalog.
This is going to be your early 2000s pop punk, but NHL 2002 is where I first discovered Jimmy Eat World. And
oh wow, really?
Yeah, and I had never heard of them before. And yeah, I found them on there. You coming onto the ice and you hear the song. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And I looked them up, and I've been a fan ever since.
What song was it?
I literally can't remember. I just remember hearing it on NHL.
Yeah, that's got to be. That was early 2000s. You said.
Yeah, it was NHL.
So it's probably from the Bleed American era.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I'm I'm into hardcore and metal and stuff like that. And there was a band going around that I had heard about, but I never heard. And I heard on the Saints Row 2 soundtrack, it was this song Milk Lizard by the Dillinger Escape Plan. And I got into that song, and then I got into a couple other songs, and I didn't really pursue it. And then 5-6 years ago, I really took a deep dive into their catalog. Now they're like one of my top 3 favorite bands. But it was because of Saints Row 2.
Yeah, video games are a great way to find music, especially nowadays.
Oddly enough, Burnout 3 Takedown, which is my favorite Burnout game and probably one of the top 10 most played games of my lifetime for me. I got really into Motion City Soundtrack because they had a song called My Favorite Accident, which was it's kind of a fun song for that game.
Especially for Burnout, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was a song by a Southern California Latina punk band called Go Betty Go. And they had a song on that game as well called Come On that I thought was really good. So both of those, and then actually Burnout Paradise is what got me into Avril Lavigne. I'd always known about her, but I freaking loved when Girlfriend came on, and that's so flipping much. I was like, I gotta get more of this. I want whatever this is. I gotta find it and put it right into my veins, man. This is fantastic. So.
Well, speaking of good music, let's dive right into our first topic and our first news story of the day. The Indiana Jones game announced. Being done by Bethesda and being done by the Machine Games, who does the Wolfenstein series. Lots of questions. 90% of them are, is this an Xbox exclusive? We don't know. We don't know what the deals are. We're not going to know anything until this deal with Microsoft gets done, which is expected to be, from what I've heard, May or June. So it's going to be a little bit until we know more information. But I'll go right to Sean first. Sean, are you excited for this game?
Yeah, actually I am, because I had on the original Xbox. I apologize for my dogs. On the original Xbox, I had there's this game Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, made by the Collective, who also made the first Buffy the Vampire Slayer game for the original Xbox, and so that was the last Indiana Jones game. That was the last Indiana Jones game I played. So I'm really, really excited about this. Plus, I really like Machine Games. I think that one of the underrated aspects of Machine Games, the 2 Wolfenstein games, the main Wolfenstein games, is the storytelling. They're really good at telling. They're really good writers. And so I'm really excited to see what they do. I am a little curious to see if this is going to be like a Respawn type thing when they shifted from first person for Jedi Fallen Order, because I can't imagine you would have something as like the Indiana Jones character and he's one of the few characters in movies that you could put a silhouette of him and you know who it is because the iconography. So I'm hoping that they're going third person with this. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I said before, I was like, if this winds up being an Xbox exclusive, that could be the game that gets me to buying a Series X.
Yeah, the questions revolving around the Xbox exclusivity. I mean, on one hand, you have to think business-wise, this would be an excellent way for Microsoft to start. If they have control of it, this would be an excellent way for them to start making back their $7 billion that they spent on Bethesda. Because this is a game and a series that it's funny because the last movie, whatever, take it or leave it. Everyone mostly leaves it.
Still made the most money.
Yeah. But no, for me, this is a series that is not mainstream. Like, it's not something that your younger generation would think of. So what this is really going to do, if for those people that may have glossed over the movies, maybe never, I've seen Indiana Jones before, this is going to really introduce Indiana Jones to a whole new generation, which I really like because with the next movie coming out, who knows when, I've heard 2022, 2023, this will probably be a follow-up to it, I would assume. I know that they said this is going to be an original story, but I would assume they're going to tie this game's release date into the movie coming out because that's what Disney does best is marketing, and that's excellent marketing. Tim, what are your kind of thoughts? I know you're a big Tomb Raider fan. Is that the kind of style you want to see, like an Uncharted?
I just want to prepare our audience for Tim to say really offensive things about the Indiana Jones franchise. I already wrote down as well in our private little Slack chat. And
yes,
good luck. Buckle up.
To explain to everybody, Tim is one of those people that he's only watched, I think, 2 of them. So you have never really gotten...
I did watch the first one.
You did not if you fell asleep.
I fell asleep because I was very tired, and I wasn't particularly
okay. So let me rephrase the question. As somebody who is part of that, you're not super into Indiana Jones. You never really got into it. You're not like, about it, but you don't know everything about it. Does this game excite you?
It could. I think a whip in first person is kind of an interesting prospect. I don't know how they could do that in a way that feels good. I would think that the whip needs to have like a little bit more of a free-flowing sense to it, which I think would be better in third person. So that is a big question for me. I think it's a cool idea of having a character who uses, obviously uses guns and pistols, but the idea of a character who also, is so nimble as Indiana, as well as obviously as the whip. And, I think it could open up a lot of cool combat mechanics as well as obviously traversal. I do like those newer Tomb Raiders. I feel like they got less enjoyable as they went on. But I think that my only concern would be that they end up making it almost a little too guided, like with the Nathan Drake games and with Uncharted. I know it's called Uncharted, but I'm thinking about the characters. With Uncharted and with Tomb Raider, I feel like both of those games, especially the new Tomb Raiders, had this sense of being real handholdy, like they were trying to appeal to the biggest mass market possible. And so there was a lot of mechanics that were there for people that don't normally play video games. I would hope this wouldn't be like that, because that kind of killed a little bit of the enjoyment for me. I was like, well, at some point, why don't you just show me a video of someone doing this if you're going to talk me through it the whole way, instead of letting me figure it out. So I'd like it to be third person. And I will say, I did see both Temple of Doom and the third one within the past 6 months for the first time. So no, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I think a video game set in 1940s, 1950s, that's a cool take on it, because both Tomb Raider and Uncharted are modern. Yeah, so I do like the idea of the older time setting as well.
And that's a great point. We don't really have any of those. You got Assassin's Creed, obviously, is the one that's going to come to mind, but there's nothing that really takes place in that, that 1930s,
early 20th century.
Yeah, that kind of time period. That is kind of that action game. Avery, when you see this get announced out of kind of nowhere, to not really a lot of, like, no one saw this coming. Do you think, going back to the Xbox thing, do you think this is them putting it out there to get people excited? But the small details, like we don't know what consoles it's on. We don't know even the time period it could release. They didn't even give a year that it could release. Do you think this is strategic by, I guess, Bethesda, so that when the deal does go through with Microsoft, then they can say, hey, this is an Xbox exclusive. This is coming out exclusively for PC and Xbox, a year or two from now. Or do you see this as just being kind of an afterthought and they just don't want to give anything away this early?
I think it has to be like a combination of those things, because looking at it from, Xbox point of view with the games that they have right now and kind of what people say on the, interwebs about exclusivity and everything, it would be kind of foolish to not say it's not, being exclusive if it really is. So that has to tell us that this deal is, still pending, or like they're still kind of working through the logistics behind it. Because Xbox has to, I know, Phil Spencer and everybody over there, they always talk about, wanting to have games, played anywhere and everywhere. But they need to start drawing the line on some of these properties. They need to start being selfish, and they need to start giving, their Xbox fans something to hold on to, something to take ownership of, because there's not a whole lot. And like you said, with that, what was it, like $7 billion, they got to start getting some of that money back. And this is a great project to start with. I think Indiana Jones is a very well-known franchise. People may have not seen the movies, but I mean, there is that ride at Disneyland. There's the Indiana Jones ride. It's Harrison Ford. It's a lot of good. There's a lot of good in this project. A lot that can be done with this character, and it can turn into something where, if this is going to be like an original story, it could go off and branch into its own entity that's detached from the movies and really be something special. Now, in of that itself, that kind of puts some expectations on Bethesda and them to make sure that they don't mess this up, because of how enshrined this franchise may be for some people. I did play Wolfenstein: The New Colossus, and so I can say that game is a hell of a lot of fun. They really know how to make killing Nazis fun, and Indy's all about killing Nazis. So, I mean, I'm with it.
Yeah, that's all I kind of saw around Twitter on the game is, wow, Machine Games really has a wheelhouse, and that wheelhouse has anything to do with killing Nazis. So we like to see that. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah. About the fact that it's Machine Games, that those Wolfenstein games are known, killing Nazis. They're extremely violent, and the violence is extremely slapstick, which isn't Indiana Jones. So I know it's violence, Sean, but I'm saying, like, I think that I'm very curious to see how they kind of recalibrate themselves.
Yeah, because we
it just wouldn't be appropriate for it to get to that level.
You make a great point, because we don't expect this game to be M-rated. We don't. It's not.
No, it's not going to be.
No, there's no way.
No, but he kills not the. I don't know. He's pretty slapsticky with how he kills some Nazis in.
Number one, I would say number one for sure.
No, not number one is straight serious. Like that one, like you got bullet holes, blood. That's what I was telling him. I was like, it's one of the hardest PG movies I've ever seen. He shoots a guy in the head and blood like starts pouring out. People literally explode. But in 3, he's like throwing like wood things into motorcycles. They're flipping over. There's the guy. He's getting like doing all the stuff on the tank. It's way more lighthearted. So I can see them going that way. But I'm not worried about recalibrating and stuff like that. A good storyteller is a good storyteller.
Oh, I'm not worried about it, but it is something I'm curious to see how they kind of find their particular brand of comedic violence, like over the top, gory comedic violence, and fit that into a T-rated family game.
Mhm.
No, I agree with both of you. I think this is going to be interesting. Like I said before, this kind of came out of left field. No one saw it coming. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited in 2021, we still get a surprise when it comes to announcing a video game. Because usually
Yeah.
that just doesn't happen.
That's what I was wondering, because it seemed like, I mean, it was a very nothing teaser. I'm sure there's hints that people could pick over and go into through the trailer, but it was just enough to be like, hey, we're making an Indiana Jones game, and something tells me they did this because it was going to get leaked.
Yeah.
And it was like, and like, even though it's so far out, like that game's far out.
Yep. Now, before we move on, is there anybody else that kind of wanted to chime in about the Indiana Jones game?
I think it's cool that we're getting a couple of games based on old movie franchises.
Yeah. Yep. And that's a perfect segue, Tim. Speaking of old movie franchises, Star Wars announced today we're getting a Ubisoft Star Wars game made by the guys that make The Division. My initial reaction was, okay, no more EA. Okay, I'm okay with this. And you know what? I can't even sit here and I'm not going to sit here and do what the internet loves to do and bash EA. You know what? Squadrons was great. I thought Jedi Fallen Order was great, and the whole fiasco behind the loot box situation with Battlefront 2. Remove that, and the game's great. The game is really good. The story is kind of mediocre, but the multiplayer and how it looks, it's a gorgeous looking game. Battlefront 2 now even is it has a pretty thriving community. It's played fairly often from what I've seen. But Ubisoft, open world, that's what they do. Sean, I'll go to you first on this. Initial reactions to this announcement?
A couple of things. One, well, my initial thought was they're not renewing their contract with EA. But I did read into it. They are going to continue making games with EA. It's just that they're not going to have the exclusive rights, which in hindsight feels like a giant waste of time of all the games that could have come out in the Star Wars universe that didn't, because EA had the exclusive rights. Not to mention the two Star Wars games they canceled. So that made me happy. I really like the Division games. I think Ubisoft's massive Snowdrop engine is gorgeous. So it's going to look really good. It did get me thinking that this might be an open world live service game based in Star Wars, because that is what Ubisoft Massive has made. Mm-hmm. So I can see that being the case. So I'm happy. I like both Division games. I don't really tend to stick around too much long after like the first year of a live service game. But if I get a good campaign out of it, I'm happy. There's one thing that kind of makes me feel a little is that one of the things about Star Wars is the stars. And if you're in an open world game, I don't imagine you're going to be leaving the atmosphere. So you're not going to get that part of the Star Wars stuff. But I am curious. But it just like two things. One, I'm happy that this game's being made. And the other thing is that I'm happy now more other developers are going to be able to get their hands on Star Wars, which has me very excited about the possibilities of what kind of games we're finally going to see.
Yeah, that is a perfect example of why deals like this are bad. The first thing I thought to myself when I thought about this and kind of read into it a little more was like, can you imagine so many franchises? Can you imagine, again, I'm not a huge sports game person, but can you imagine if we got competition for a Madden game each year, how great that would be, or a competition to an NHL game? Yeah, exactly. We used to. And that's what drives competition. That's what drives innovation in the gaming, in game development, is people being allowed by these companies to go and make the game that they want to make and say, hey, if it's a good game, it'll sell on its own merit. You don't have to, you could only buy a Star Wars game from us in order to sell. Because I guarantee you, if this were the case the entire time, I think we would have got some excellent Star Wars games. better late than never. But I do agree with you, Sean. I think the fact that we got Galaxy of Heroes, which is a mobile game. You've got both Battlefront
four
games.
games.
Yeah, both
Four.
5, because you got the mobile game. Yeah.
I forgot about the road. I forgot about the flying one.
Yeah, the
And
squad.
there was another mobile game that they only kept up for a year, where it was like
so
Fallout.
you've got 5. Yeah, you got 5 games that have come out. Battlefront 1, in my opinion, was not good at all. It was gorgeous, not good. Battlefront 2 had its problems at launch. Fallen Order is great.
And an awful campaign. The
Yes.
Battlefront 2 campaign is terrible.
Yes, it's not good. It's not good. Avery, I'll ask you, what do you want to see? What do you want to see? Do you want to see an Assassin's Creed style maybe type of game? Do you want to see something? Do you want to see something around the Division base, like an open world live service, or do you want to see the Division developers kind of do something new?
So the type of game that I would like to see come out of there would be, I mean, the Division was really great with the amount of detail that Massive Entertainment went in with, the setting of New York City in the first one and Washington, D.C. in the second one. And they truly make that world, feel real. So having something like that wouldn't be like, some poor thing to have. I mean, I think that would be really cool, especially if it was like a one fleshed out world of Star Wars. The possibilities are endless there. But I would kind of like to see something where you are traveling to different planets so that you do see the different settings, because with Star Wars, again, just like Sean said, you have the stars, and so there's different planets, there's different creatures you run into, there's different languages, and so I hope they really go with that route, and it's more exploration type. And then I kind of hope that it's not so much of a Jedi, I think, or maybe you can choose, between a Jedi or a bounty hunter or something. But I think overall, I think ending the exclusivity deal with EA is going to be good for Star Wars moving forward. I mean, if you take a look at what Marvel has done in the last, few years with the different types of games that they've had released, whether it's the Guardians game with Telltale, Lego Marvel, even the Avengers game, it's the same characters, it's the same, property, but it's being told in different formats. And I think that kind of builds up the property even more. And so now if you have all these different studios trying to get in on, Star Wars here, there's going to be a lot of different creative options that we're going to be seeing with Star Wars moving forward.
No, I agree with you there. I think this was the best move that Disney could have made. I think they probably saw what was happening and decided to finally step in. And in my opinion, I feel like the only way, if you're gonna choose to do an open world game, you have to choose whether or not that it's going to be mainly ground focused or flight focused. Because I still feel like if there hasn't been a Star Wars game, maybe Battlefront, but I just feel like there hasn't been a Star Wars game that has been able to do ground combat and in space combat well within the same game. I feel like you almost need to focus one over the other, and it sucks to hear that. But I just think that with how development works nowadays, I feel like if you want to get a really good flying game, that you need to focus on the flying really hard. And if you want a good ground game, you need to really focus on the ground combat. Tim, what is your opinion kind of on this? Do you think that we're going to see the games as a service? Because I know as soon as people hear games as a service, they get put off, especially, over, most recently Avengers.
Yeah. I'd like to start by saying that this is a much a franchise I am much more familiar with. I am a big Star Wars fan, and I definitely think it could be a service game. I mean, that's what they do. I never was able to really get into the Division very deeply at all, just because none of my friends played it, and it didn't seem like something I'd enjoy by myself. But I agree with you guys. Part of the Star Wars is the stars, but I think that there are planets in Star Wars. And that are complex and big enough that they could base a game there without it feeling restricted. Namely Coruscant. I think a live kind of
wow, that'd be great.
Wouldn't that be great? Like a live war game or something, like some kind of combat based thing where you're playing as some, I don't know, underworld bounty hunter on Coruscant. Like you're all competing gangs or something.
Star Wars 1313.
Oh my gosh! Don't even bring it up, man. It pisses me off so bad. I think about Star Wars 1313 once a month. I'm so mad that game got canceled.
That's why I'm pissed off about Amy Hennig's Star Wars game getting canceled.
Yeah,
that would have had a great story and would have been made by Visceral with her writing. Would have been awesome.
My gosh, Sean. Oh my gosh, I was so disappointed when I heard about that. Yeah, so I think they could do Coruscant. I think they could stick to their wheelhouse and have it be on Coruscant and have it be cool. I mean, the best levels in most Star Wars games for me are the Coruscant levels. I remember playing through the Coruscant mission. There was a couple Coruscant missions in Star Wars Bounty Hunter on the PlayStation 2. They were just incredible. I mean, as a kid, they just made my imagination go crazy. Same with Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, the second one, which, by the way, bring back Kyle Katarn. I miss him. I need him. He's probably my favorite of the Jedi characters. I love Kyle Katarn. So for those of you who don't know, he was the main character in those Jedi Knight games. So I would love to see him come back in some form. This sounds like it's going to be a custom character type thing because that's part of what they do. But that's what I want. I want a game where you play as a bounty hunter in the lower depths of Coruscant. That's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah, I know. It's just 1313. That's all I could think of when I heard this. Yeah, you know what?
But I think they could do that. Keep out the space combat. It would still feel big and Star Warsy, and they'd be able to be focused with it. So
yeah, my big thing is if you're going to do a live service game, and I still think that there have only been, out of all of these companies that have tried these live service games, there have been two that have managed to hit it. You've got Destiny, which really kicked it off, and The Division. The Division, you know, give or take, it's not as popular as Destiny, but at least it's a studio that has at least a proven track record of at least knowing how to develop a live service game properly. So I do appreciate that. And if it is going to be a live service game, you better take a look at Avengers and you better get your goddamn loot right.
Yeah, that's the one thing I am not worried about at all. Because they'll have access to everything in Lucasfilm. Yeah. Like in terms of like weapons and just everything. I just don't think they're going to have to worry about that. With the more fantastical nature of Star Wars, you can do a lot of cool stuff with the abilities and stuff. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for them the way it is with the Avengers. The Avengers, you can't really do much. It's not like Tony Stark can get this ability that he never had, or Hulk can't shoot laser. You know what I mean? Like it's just
and you guys can disagree with me on this.
They're too boldly defined. The Marvel characters.
Yeah, and you guys can disagree with me on this, but I genuinely think that Disney is a lot more lenient with developers when it comes to Star Wars compared to Marvel. I feel like they've allowed EA and the EA games, especially with Jedi Fallen Order. They allowed them to be a little more creative with what kind of weapons they were using, how lightsabers were constructed, what enemies you were fighting, what planets you went. They allowed them to have a little more creative freedom, for sure.
If you read about the making of it, they had some guidelines.
For sure. I bet there's guidelines for sure.
They didn't even want them to touch Jedi. Like they didn't even want them to touch, and they were like, I mean, come on, we got to make a Jedi game. They had a good pitch for it. So
I have actually always wanted a game where you kind of play, like it's like a Battlefront where you do play as like someone who gets conscripted into the Empire, or you join the Rebel, and you're just kind of a no-name on the ground type of guy. I do like that. And like you said, I do really do want a bounty hunter game as well.
I think
that's what Star Wars Bounty Hunter was.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, even though this is circling back to EA, I really hope, and this to me, this seems like a no-brainer. like, so we know BioWare has struggled, right, recently with Anthem, with Andromeda.
Yeah.
Why in the flying fuck are you sitting there with the Star Wars license, not giving everybody what they want, and either full on remaking Knights of the Old Republic or making Knights of the Old Republic 3? Yes, you have the Old Republic MMO, but just make a new Knights of the Old Republic game.
Yep, I agree, 100%. All right. Well, now that we've kind of gone through the news, I thought we'd have a little fun to end the new year podcast by talking about the games that are coming this year. And there are a lot of them. I'm going to try and pick and choose the biggest ones. So how we're going to do this is we're going to go around. I'm going to essentially say a game, where it's coming out, and we're going to quickly talk about it, and then essentially say if we think it's going to come out this year or not. There's a lot of games getting delayed. So we have to take all of these games with a grain of salt. I'm going to skip January for the most part. We know the big one is Hitman 3. We know it ain't getting delayed at this point. So that is going to be here. Scrolling through the list. Now we get down to the March, April area, and there's a lot of them. I think the big one is going to be the Joseph Ferris game in March that has a release date for It Takes Two, and I know a lot of people are excited for that one. March 26th. Sean, you think that's coming out March 26th?
You skipped Returnal, which is, I expect nothing less from the Xbox guy.
Oh,
but,
sorry. No. Yes. It was right below it. It was right below it. So we'll do.
I'll answer the question about It Takes Two. I don't think that's going to get delayed.
No, me either.
I don't think that's going to get delayed. I'm really looking forward to that, though, because we talked about it before. I love Joseph Ferris. I love his approach to video games. I love how he thinks about video games, and he's like the indie Kojima in that he really tries to reinvent how we look at and how games as a storytelling medium and how we interact with them. Mm-hmm. And I really, really, really appreciate that. I think we need more Joseph Ferris in the space.
No, I agree. I don't think it'll get delayed either. I know they were showing that they were working on it and they were doing mocap already back at the Game Awards. So, that's give or take probably be 3 or 4 months before the game comes out. So no, I don't believe it's going to get delayed either. But I will go to Returnal, and I'll ask you the same question. Do you think it's going to get delayed?
No.
Tim, Avery?
No, I don't think so. I think didn't they just release a video like yesterday or the day before about the combat and that? So it it looks pretty good for something that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months. And that's a PS5 exclusive, and so Sony needs to start racking those up. And so I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I think that something that's been advertised that much and is that kind of a big of a game that they haven't delayed yet is probably pretty safe.
Cyberpunk says hi.
Cyberpunk was delayed twice before we got close. This close.
It was delayed 4 times, and the last time was literally 3 weeks before it was supposed to come out.
But I mean, by that time, that 3 weeks, it had already been delayed twice. Yeah, this game hasn't been delayed at all. So
that's true. The next one that has a confirmed release date, and these are just ones that have confirmed release dates. Outriders.
It was already delayed.
Yeah, it was. Do we think it's going to get delayed again?
I hope not.
I tried. I'm not technically supposed to say this because of the NDA, but I tried it on the Xbox. It was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's games as a service game, and I'm excited for it. And I think they may be able to finally do what Destiny and Division have done. We're gonna get a third game up there sometime. And speaking of games as a service game, wherever the hell the Anthem, they're still working on it. They said the last time I looked at it, they're still chipping away and trying to change the system. So that'll be interesting when that even decides to come out.
Yeah.
Um,
I always get that game mixed up with Riders Republic,
yeah. I know what you mean.
which I think looks kind of cool, but like I know they're different. So
yeah, this is the Outriders is more of a game service, but it's a third person shooter in a role. It's like a third person shooter RPG, but it has single. It's kind of like Destiny in a way where it has the single player. You can play certain portions of it completely by yourself, and then it's got the multiplayer portions. So I think they are going to try to go through the Destiny division route. Now here's a big one that a lot of people are excited for, and I this is one I genuinely don't believe this is going to be out because they only just announced it. Back for Blood. I don't think it's going to be out in June. I think it's going to I think there's going to be enough hype around it where number one, they're going to take more time on it. And number two, I think they're going to push it back to a fall release.
That's the one I really hope that has a date, doesn't get delayed. But I do think, I mean, it's been in development for a long time, and it is one of those games that they can constantly update once it's out. So maybe they could kind of put it out as long as it runs smoothly and it's not a buggy mess when it comes out. I could see them making it. I mean, I don't know if people remember, but the first Left 4 Dead, I love that game, but it's pretty bare bones. Like, it's pretty bare bones. It was like 4 maps, and you didn't get new weapons. It was just those 4 maps, those same character skins. And
they have the DLC, correct? A few DLCs.
It came out eventually. Yeah, it came out eventually.
Did they ever add new guns to it or new weapons?
Nope. Oh. They just put out Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2 basically was Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 put together at some point. They just dumped everything from Left 4 Dead 1 into Left 4 Dead 2, but with the newer weapons and the couple of mechanic changes and stuff like that.
And with how much
games were good.
Yeah, and Avery, I'll ask you, with how much I think everyone kind of agrees that Left 4 Dead is definitely on that pedestal of, everyone enjoyed this game. There wasn't a bad thing to say about it. It could be a little bit of it was a great game, could be a little bit of nostalgia. Are you kind of shocked that they're going to do this for a June game? Because usually June, July is where you put games that aren't going to have a bunch of fanfare.
I kind of look at it on the opposite, thinking that, me personally, I don't know why games don't take advantage of the summer months. I mean, kids aren't in school. I think this would be a great game to hit its June release date because it is, a co-op game. And so what better time to hop online and honestly, I've never even played Left 4 Dead. So what are they, fighting zombies?
You've never played Left 4 Dead?
I never played Left 4 Dead.
Really?
Oh my god!
Definitely do yourself a favor and play it if you can. They still hold up. They hold up really good.
Oh, okay.
So
but, I mean, yeah,
it's a fun game to play. I know this sounds like an asterisk. You always have someone to play with, but it is exceptionally good when you're playing with friends.
See, and then if Left 4 Dead is that great, I can only assume that Back 4 Blood is going to be in that same tier of excellency, and so I think it would clean house around that June release date. I don't know what else is coming out over there, but I'm sure that would be the headliner.
Literally, it's the only game that has a confirmed release date for June right now.
Yeah.
So maybe,
they need to get that game out before the vaccine becomes widespread. I'll tell you what, because once that shit goes, people are like, "Fuck staying inside."
Yeah,
that's true.
But,
I'm so excited for this. I loved those Left 4 Dead games so flipping much. There's just so they were one of those games that inspired a level of role play with your friends that most games didn't at the time. Like most games are totally self-contained and you're talking about other things maybe, or like you can play them without paying full attention. But me and my friends were like experiencing the actual emotions we would have felt if we were trying to save each other's lives in a zombie apocalypse. It was so good, man, to like you're all running through a hallway and then all of a sudden you hear the girl crying, the witch crying. And everyone, the whole room, like shushes. Like we don't want her to hear us. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, but then eventually you just walk up to her and shoot her in the fucking face like 3 times with a shotgun.
Yeah,
and
she
drops.
does. Yep.
Yeah.
You learn that really quick.
I woke up the witch. You know, someone yelling that, and all of a sudden you're running and screaming.
The best thing with the witch is on Left 4 Dead 2, on that mission with the farm, and you're in the tall grass. That's where it's like, oh fuck, because you can hear her crying. So Avery, just so you know, what it is the witch would cry on the ground, right? And you would hear her like crying.
She looks like a little girl. It's a little girl.
Or
and
like,
if you get close to her, she fucking like freaks out, and then she just like screams, and then not only does her scream call in a bunch of zombies, but she can one shot you and knock you into a down. Like once you get knocked down, you're on the ground, and all you can shoot is like a pistol, and you're stuck in this like one place until someone picks you up, and then or they can. So she would not hit you, and then you would be pretty much dead.
Yeah.
If she hit you,
it's always funny because Left 4 Dead, it was always known for a very fast paced run, shoot, everything. And then when you heard the witch, it instantly became tactical. It became okay, which way we gotta go? Oh, how are we gonna do this,
dropped
guys?
you into an entirely different genre. Yeah, man. The other thing Left 4 Dead did is like the witch and the it was one of those first games where there were special zombies that had different abilities based on who they were before they died. Like the fat guy became the
boomer.
The boomer. And the emo girl became the witch, and the roided out jock became the tank.
Yeah.
And almost every zombie game I've played since then has ripped off that idea. That was a Left 4 Dead idea, which was so cool at the time. It's like you can tell the smoker, you know, it's like, oh, this is what happens when you become a zombie addicted to nicotine. You turn into this horrible, ugly thing with a slack jaw, man. I hope that game comes out on time, and I hope that it's good. And I hope that everyone I know buys it, so I have lots of people to play with.
Very true. Now moving on, Far Cry 6. I don't think this is coming out this year.
No,
I don't. I think this was supposed to be a spring game, I believe.
No, it was originally February.
February, yeah. And we've seen one trailer. No way this comes out this year, in my opinion, because I think they're going to. I think Ubisoft has something planned.
Do you see that it? I'm sorry. Did you see that? So it was delayed, and it has a release date of May 25th. So are we working off of that date now?
Yeah, I don't think it's hitting that.
Okay.
It's hard because Ubisoft. What I appreciate about Ubisoft is they don't care. They're just going to delay. If their game needs to be delayed, they'll delay it. They're like. They did it. They did it with a bunch of games last year. Watch Dogs was supposed to come out last year, and they delayed it.
Yeah.
So actually, I was just reading. Sorry to cut in. I was just reading, Avery, to your point that May 25th. That was a leak. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah.
That was
never mind.
I know they got really spooked with how the last Ghost Recon was received.
Yeah.
And they said they were going to retool and like they delayed all of their games.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pandemic hit. And so I would be surprised if that came out when it's been rumored to in May. I doubt it.
Nope, I agree.
How was Far Cry 5 like in terms of A? Does anybody remember delays? And B, was it received well?
I think it was delayed, if I'm being honest. I can't remember 100%, but I want to say it was delayed once.
No, I don't think.
No?
I think this is the first time I've seen a Far Cry game get delayed.
Okay.
And I do think it's because of COVID. They were just like, we're not going to hit this. We're not going to hit this date.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, they usually come out around this time. They usually are one of the first games of one of the first big titles of each year that they come out. They have been pretty consistent releasing every year, every other year. Sometimes they'll put out like a quote unquote half step, like Far Cry Primal, Far Cry Blood Dragon, Far Cry the New Dawn. They do that. And Far Cry 5 was pretty well received. A lot of people, the critics that didn't like it were a little wearing their agendas on their sleeve a little bit, that it wasn't anti-Trump enough, which I thought was ridiculous because nothing about this game said it was going to be anything remotely like that. But apparently they interpreted it being taking place in Montana was going to be that. So it was just weird. They brought this like political baggage to the game that shouldn't have been there because it was about a cult leader, not anything like, you know what I mean? Like it was just, it was more of a David Koresh kind of guy than it was anything Trumpian. So it was really weird. And they weren't they were religious, but they weren't religious in like a Christianity way. It was like some made up thing that they were doing drugs and
it's pretty good. If you get a chance to play it, you can pick it up really cheap. I know that.
Yeah. I think if you're going to play, if you're at Avery, if you have any interest in a Far Cry game, try 3 or 4. 3 is really good. It's missing things that the other games have added, so you wouldn't miss that if it was your first time playing. But like there's like in the other one, in 4 they added a grappling hook that lets you climb up surfaces and stuff like that. But Far Cry 3 is a really good open world game that it's good and it has a really good villain. Far Cry 4 is good. Cry 5, the reason why I don't say do Far Cry 5 is because there's this weird thing where like they want the story mission intrudes on your exploration sometimes. Like you'll be playing and then these guys will hunt you down and hit you with like a trank gun, and then they pull you into a story mission and you're like, motherfucker, I was hunting boars so I can make a goddamn wallet. What are you doing?
Now this one is going to be I think this is going to be unanimous across the board. God of War. Don't see it coming out. Yeah.
Don't see it coming out this year.
No.
I was just saying, if Harry Potter got delayed in January of 2020, all the way, they're like, nope, it's not coming. We know for a fact it's not coming in the next 11 months, at least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 11 months, they looked at what they had and they're like, there's no way.
So let me ask you this, Sean. Where do you think this game comes out?
God of War?
Yeah.
I think probably first half of 2022.
Yeah.
I
like
think
like a big April-May game.
March, like the first one came out in March. Well, I say first one, but I mean 2018 came out in March. I could see them doing the same thing. And the last God of War got delayed too, so this wouldn't be new.
And now
the only thing is that this one is derivative, whereas that one was a whole new ground up. So it might not need as much R&R as that first one did.
Yeah, because it'll be around the
DLC,
same engine.
Sorry,
it'll run on the same engine, I would assume.
Yeah,
because the engine, of course,
not R&R.
God of War in 2018 came out at the end of April.
Oh, yeah. Was
so it was April 20th.
I think that'll be I think it'll be 2022 around that time.
That's what I would think.
I feel like Sony always likes to hit that one big spring game, and I think they've done it for a long time, where they've always liked to have that big spring game.
I think Far Cry 6, going back to that real quick, I think that goes, it still hits that February, but of next year. It'll just, because Ubisoft just loves that spot, it'll just go a whole calendar year.
No, because I agree.
Far Cry is not really, I think, high on their priority list, and so they'll just let that sit because I think they have enough of a established fan base that will buy it regardless.
Yeah. There's definitely been diminishing returns for them on that one.
Now, sitting with the PlayStation,
you are all crazy. Yeah. Far Cry is a consistently great seller for Ubisoft. Consistent.
Now with that one,
that's why they're making the sixth one. But I mean,
Esposito. Is that his name?
Yeah,
it's consistently a big seller for them. Every year it comes out, it's always in the top 10 for the year.
It's like Assassin's Creed, right? Like people just brand name, you grab it. Now sticking with the PlayStation, sticking with the PlayStation games, Horizon. Do we see this? Is this going to be Sony's big game, or do we see this getting delayed? The reason why I think this one comes out and hits its mark is because it's also being developed for the PS4.
Yep, that's why. I agree.
And it's been being developed for longer.
Yeah.
So.
And because they haven't done anything since, right? Since Horizon?
No. besides the DLC now.
Say it comes out in like September.
Yep. September. Yeah, it's September. September is the month because once you get into October, just get away.
They already have shit in October. They have like Ghostwire, Stray.
So sick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they want to overstep themselves. I'd say September.
Yep. Same.
That's assuming Ghostwire doesn't get delayed.
I hope
true.
not.
Now here's one that I think a lot of people are not thinking about, and I totally forgot about it. Is Gotham Knights, the co-op Batman?
Yeah, I think that's coming this year.
Yeah, me too.
It's been in development for quite a while. That's coming this year.
That's by, I believe that is by the guys.
WB Montreal.
Yes, and they did. Did they do the what was
Origins?
Origins.
They did
Okay,
Origins.
yeah. Which is surprising
Yeah.
they never. So I actually bought the Arkham bundle when it came out because I played the first one, but I hadn't played the other two. They didn't include Origins in it for some reason, and it's almost like the redheaded stepchild. Like no one like I've heard decent things about it. I know it's not as good as the
I've
mainline
only
games.
played Arkham
It was
Knight.
a holdover spin-off game. I mean, it wasn't part of the trilogy.
Avery, Arkham Asylum is one of the best games I've ever played.
Can I tell you? And this is a hot take, and you might agree with me, Sean, after that comment. I think Arkham Asylum is better than Arkham City because I enjoyed the more streamlined.
100%. I think Arkham City is entirely bloated. I think that
Really? Okay.
yeah. Oh, it's bloated as hell. It was one of those games that I was just like, I just want to wrap this up because
Is City the second one?
Yes.
City's the
Yeah.
second one.
And Asylum's the first one.
Asylum's the first one.
Okay.
Asylum, dude, Avery, play it. It's
It's good.
really good.
Yeah.
It's really
Arkham Asylum is an actual place in the comics, and then the names of the other two are derivative to maintain the brand connection.
Is it long?
The Arkham connection.
No, you can beat it pretty quick.
It's about a 20-hour game.
If you go for
maybe if you do
collectibles and
everything. Yeah, if you do
I usually
everything.
play games while I'm working, so that's how I've been.
Yeah. Dude, Avery, did you like Arkham Knight? Did you like
I did.
Arkham
I
Knight?
actually really enjoyed it.
If you like that, trust me, Arkham Asylum is so good. It's so good.
All right.
It's got less. It's less. It's not open. It's not an. It's like a more contained. Like it's
more like
kinda
a Zelda.
Metroidvania.
Yeah.
It's like a
I'm down for a straightforward kind of get in, get out
Yeah.
type
It's
thing.
a Metroidvania type game where you get gadgets and you get access to other areas on the
Okay.
island.
When you
and
come
stuff
back
like
to
that.
the areas because you can't access certain stuff.
Oh,
until you
gotcha.
get-
Okay.
Yeah.
It kind of mixes elements
All right.
of Zelda and Metroid together.
Yep.
It's really, really, really good. I guarantee you will like that game.
Golly, man.
Guarantee it.
Those
Keep going. We'll
that
keep going with the
trilogy-
PlayStation games here. Gran Turismo 7. Does anyone think that's coming out this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where?
I don't play any Gran Turismos, but I don't. Do we even have a release date? Is
No.
it just
No,
There's
they
no
said
release date.
they just doubled down not too long ago on the 2021 date for that one. So
I could see it honestly coming out in like
I mean, window.
November or something. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
I could see it.
I'm not a big
see
fan of
that-
serious simulations, so
Yeah, I could see it. I think their main thing is they need to come out with it. I think this is a good year for them because they need to come out where they're not being compared to Forza. Not that they have to compete against each other because it's obviously console exclusives, but I feel like because Forza's kind of taken that crown of this is the simulation racer. If you come out and you hit it out of the park with graphics on the PlayStation 5, you come out and hit it with some good engine mechanics and you kind of blow people away. I think people are going to instantly start thinking, oh, wow, like they really brought it back. They really brought their shit because everyone's always going to compare Gran Turismo and Forza. There's just and car games are weird graphically because I always feel like they hit a point where I just don't think you can make it look better, even though I in my mind, I know they can, but I always feel like there's not a big difference for me between Horizon 3 and Horizon 4 or like Gran Turismo 6 or Gran Turismo or 7 and like Sport, I guess. Probably it will be because it's on the PS5. But yeah, I agree. I think that is coming out this year. This game that Halo Infinite, this is the most firm release date in the history of firm release dates. There's absolutely no way they move this release date again. And I'll tell you right now, before anyone says it, this game is coming out. You can bookmark it now, November 15th. Why? It's the 25th anniversary of Halo, or the 20th anniversary of Yeah, Halo. It'll come out on the same day as
Wrap
the
it
original
up.
Halo.
We did it.
Yep.
We nailed it. I agree. If
Okay.
they miss that, then what is even the point?
And you know what? I love the Halo crap that happened. You look back on it because hindsight's 2020. My God, do they look smart now compared to Cyberpunk? They look so smart.
My goodness.
Yeah, all
Did
the
you
trash
see-
people were talking just instantly went away.
Yep.
Did you see that? Did you see like that video today from the head of CD Projekt Red?
I saw that he posted. I didn't actually watch the video.
I didn't watch it.
All he did was reiterate the same shit that we already knew. Like it was like an expanded version of that first apology, where they explained that they, and they were like, "Oh, it ran. We didn't catch any of the things when we tested it." I'm like, "Yeah, well, then you didn't test it because it's." I don't.
They're doubling down on it.
And well, the funny thing is that the next gen versions are now pushed back to the second half of 2021. So Cyberpunk is the first game in history to be released and still get delayed.
Yeah, I have no idea when I'm going to play this game. Honestly,
No.
I mean,
I looked at it.
Me,
so I was,
but...
I did the kind of the same thing. Is I was playing it and I was like, I kind of want to hold off. Now I just want to play it. I think I don't want to wait. It's too much. It's too long. I don't want to wait till you're going to get in when it comes out, and that they're going to be like, "Hey guys, let's try to take advantage of re-releasing the game on next gen consoles," and they're going to release it in October, November again. Nope, you came out already. It's the same game. It's just going to look nicer and run better. It's the same game.
I totally get that, but I am going to wait.
You're going to wait?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to wait because I just don't want to deal with the brokenness. And I know reports on PS5 they said it runs better, but I don't want better. I want it to be the version of the game.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at this point. It's like I want to play the next gen version, and now that I'm finding little things to fill in my time like Final Fantasy 15, I'll be looking into Arkham Asylum. That will get me to March, and then I should be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait. There's gonna be plenty. My GameFly queue is filling up constantly as new games get announced, so I'm just like, I'm good.
Now, continuing, this is an interesting one because it has a release date, a month. It says March 2021, but Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
Yes.
You think they're gonna hit it?
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
I say that because that is what I'm trying to get to March for. So it better fucking come out.
Those smaller games don't typically get delayed as much as big AAA stuff does.
Yeah, you know what I think happened? I think they caught so much attention from the PlayStation event in June.
Yeah.
That they were like, you know what, we have something special here. They got to have metrics on like how much it's being like talked about and stuff like that. So they're like, okay, we gotta make sure this is as good as it possibly can be.
I mean, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that game. I'm really excited for that game. I do think it is going to hit the date. And the other one, I don't know if you're going to mention it, but I'm going to bring it up here. Ratchet and Clank, I think, is going to.
That was the next on my list. Yeah, and I think between Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, and God of War, one of those three is going to be the one that comes out this year.
You think two of them are going to slip?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very surprising to me that we don't have a date for Ratchet and Clank, because during that same June event, I thought that Ratchet and Clank showed the most out of any of the.
It was the only one that
games.
showed gameplay.
Exactly, and so for me, I thought it was going to be Ratchet and Clank was going to be the headliner for the PS5 and not Miles Morales and Demon Souls, and so now it's kind of like, when the hell is this supposed to come out? Because they showed so much of the game. I mean, you already know that you're going to be going through all these different levels like instantaneously, and you got the other new female character and stuff. And so I thought we would have already been playing this by now, let alone not having any date at all.
Yeah. I agree with you. I thought for sure that that was really weird that was Miles Morales didn't get gameplay when they revealed it at the June 10th, June 9th, and that. But a lot of that is pipeline. You know what I mean? Especially with COVID and stuff like that, they could have just been like, well, we can make a demo or we can hit the release date. You know what I mean? And like we can show you. You know what I mean? So it was just like, so then they waited a little bit for the gameplay demo. They showed it at the follow-up event in September. But Ratchet, I think Ratchet is the one. I think internally, Sony's probably just wants to make sure Ratchet is the best it could possibly be because it is going to be showing off. It's going to be more than anything. Going to show off the power of the SSD, of their custom SSD. So I think that's why they're waiting, and they don't want to give it a date yet because they're afraid if they don't want to delay. Like, again, Sony is the company that had a fucking event planned around the release date trailer of The Last of Us 2. They had the release date trailer and a media event, and then less than 2 weeks later, they delayed the fucking game.
That's true.
So Ratchet and Clank is, I think, important for Sony because other than Forza, I think it's a really important franchise to show off a system's power. I mean, even from the two main characters. I mean, you have fur effects, light effects, reflection stuff. The weapons have all sorts of effects and lighting issues and stuff that it's a very easy seller of a console just because of the nature of the gameplay and the character design. So I think it made sense for them to spend time on that demo, even if the game was not going to come out anytime soon, just because it gave people a taste of the kind of stuff that a PlayStation could do.
Well,
so
exactly. Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
So I bet they would have prioritized the demo for that one just because of the demonstration ability it has.
Okay, we're gonna run through about 2 or 3 more because we're running out of time. We've kind of gone over really quick. So we'll do Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8. Is that coming out this year?
Yes.
What's the current date?
Doesn't have one.
Yeah, I think it'll hit this year.
I do too.
I'm not expecting a lot of games to get pushed out of 2021. I think Harry Potter is going to be an anomaly. I think other games and God of War is going to be because that's, it's just, there's no way they're going to be able to hit 4 fucking AAA, 5 AAA games in 1 year. You know what I mean? I just don't see Sony doing it. Like as consistent as their output has been, 5 is a lot. And I did think God of War is the one that's really going to slip.
Yep. Now here's one that is apparently supposed to be this year. We've seen one trailer for this. Is Rainbow Six Siege Quarantine. That game has been in development hell. It's actually, there's 2 Ubisoft games. That one and Beyond Good and
Skull
Evil 2.
Bones.
There's 3. We'll put 3 on there.
I forgot about that one.
We haven't heard. I don't think we've had another trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2 since E3 2017, I want to say. We haven't had another trailer for Skull and Bones since, I want to say, 2018.
Well, they completely scrapped Skull and Bones and started over again.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
It has a lot of potential.
I think Quarantine will be out this year. The other 2, no.
Beyond Good and Evil, I think.
Because honestly, you know what? I'm surprised with Ubisoft because I think that Siege, the way it released and how big it is now, like I play Siege and it's a weird game because it came out to absolutely zero fanfare, and now it's easily, I would say it's top 5 esport competitive, and it's one of those esports, and I'm not even a person that likes esports, but it's one of the games that's really fun to watch. Because it's single life, there's lots of strategy to it. You see what people do, and I'm actually shocked they haven't. I think it's really boosted the Rainbow Six brand even more so, and I'm actually shocked they haven't released another game to take advantage of that.
Well, they're making so much money off of that, but you know what though? I'm a Rainbow Six Vegas fan, so I reject anything that's not Rainbow Six Vegas. Even Rainbow Six Vegas too.
I think it's crazy that they kind of backed their way into making the best G.I. Joe game ever. That's what that game is.
This is the last one because we are running out of time. I just thought this is a bit of a joke one. But I will laugh my ass off if we get a Witcher 3 complete edition for the PS5 and Series X before we get a Cyberpunk remake. Or
I wouldn't be surprised.
Neither would I.
I wouldn't put it past them.
I think they could look at this and be like, "Hey guys, especially if some of these lawsuits go through, I think if you re-release The Witcher 3, I think there'll be enough people out there that'll buy it, and you get the updates and everything.
I
that you
mean,
get with it.
how have we not gotten a Skyrim PS5 Xbox
Right.
Series X edition? I mean,
Don't-
we're getting
Well, Skyrim did come
You,
to
GTA
Game
you
Pass.
wait, you wait.
It's
Microsoft's
coming.
gonna sign that sucker June 1st, and right away they're gonna green light
June 2nd.
Skyrim. Any other games that we're missing, guys? Can you think of anything else?
Werewolf Apocalypse, which it's
that's
unlikely to be delayed, but
Yeah, that's coming out in like less than a month, 3 weeks.
I think that looks super cool. I'm very curious to see what it's like to play.
Mm-hmm.
And Deathloop. I don't think Deathloop's getting delayed again.
no, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no.
That's the
me neither.
Bethesda one, right? That's
Uh-huh.
on.
That's the Arcane.
That's the
Yeah.
one year PS5 exclusive.
yeah.
Get that Sony shit out the door, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Seriously.
I think that's their perspective. Yeah, they can't delay that.
Well, there we have it. A bunch of games, 2021. Will they come out? We can only hope. It's been a weird year. It's been an exciting year. Lots of good stuff coming out. Hopefully this year we really see what these consoles can do, and they solve their supply issues, because, man, the supply issues are still going on. I did not think they were going to be going on this long, but yep, they are still going on. For signing off here, Avery, what are you getting up to? Anything you want to plug?
Not a whole lot. I did write a quick opinion on why the EA exclusivity deal ending is good for Star Wars. That's on the site right now. Besides that, like I mentioned, I'm playing through Final Fantasy 15. I played it back in 2016, but never finished it, so I'm going through that again. And just getting ready for WandaVision on Friday.
I'm
You can
very
see me on
excited. I'm right there
Twitter
with you.
at exactly. I know Twitter at coffeeblock_910.
Awesome. Tim, anything to plug?
No, not right now. I will be doing a review for Hitman 3. Right now I'm playing Hitman 2, trying to scoop up all the content I didn't get to yet. My wife and I are playing through Life is Strange for the first time, so that's fun. And I finally bought the remastered version of Dragon's Dogma, so
Very nice.
probably going to try and dip into that. We'll see.
Awesome. Sean.
I like just the Demon Souls Platinum, which I hope to have by next week. And I am guesting on a horror themed podcast called Dead Last, where we rank 10 movies from dead last to best. And I'm watching those movies, and the theme this time, I was on one a couple months ago where we did Romero zombie films, and then a couple of remakes. And then this one we're doing like one hit wonders. I don't know why he's calling them hits, because they're mostly terrible movies. So I just watched this movie called Brain Scan, which was terrible. So wish me luck, pray for me. I have like 8 more movies to go.
Perfect. We'll pray for you. And for myself, I'm honestly playing through Gears Tactics right now. Never played it before. Playing it through on the console. Really enjoying it. And you can check me out at Hoopstar245 on Twitter. So for Avery, Sean, Tim, and myself, this has been the Lock On Podcast, episode number 10 or 11. We're not sure. And we'll see you guys next time.